between them, 0.7 seconds. And already Nick Yeloli having a look at Regalia into La Source. Will try and go round the upside, or maybe go for the up and under, which he does. Down now the straight, and already all over the back of Regalia is Nick Yeloli. To the compression point at the bottom of the hill. Wants a good exit to have another run. Oh, we've got another crash. It's Niederhauser and who's that? Is that Jimmy Eriksson, car 18? I think it might. No, it's Fong. It's Adderley Fong in the Status. And Status having a nightmare this year. Last in the team's championship, and that's 2 cars in 2 incidents collected in that. Oh, as Williamson has a look at both Elinas and ahead of Elinas. I think that's Kuyala. So they've made up a couple of places, obviously, because Fong went out in that crash. Oh, as Elinas twitches as he has a look at Kuyala. Safety car is out, though, and that's why he twitched and thought better of it and pulled back in. So safety car back out once again.
Why do we see these shunts in La Source? Because often when you go steaming up the inside of someone into a hairpin like that, you have the curb to escape from. So he's headed up the inside.
That's Fong and Kuyala.
Oh, we've missed our braking point.
That's play school.
Yeah, that's very deep. It looked like he just locked up and caught the side of him.
Looking at Niederhauser. Niederhauser's just turning in. Thank you very much. Boom.
Yeah, not too much Patrick Niederhauser could do about that, and Fong then in the wrong there.
And Niederhauser, they did try and get him going again, but he's out. And what should have been a glorious year for Niederhauser was, for me, certainly one of my championship favourites coming into the year. It's just gone continuously wrong for him, and I do feel for the guy, because he is quick, and you know, this should have been a year in which he was fighting for the championship.
So sometimes when you go, I mean, not in that case because he was very, very deep, but sometimes when you go screaming up the inside of someone into a hairpin, you can get out of it and escape over the curb on the inside, whereas in La Source there's the wall there, there's nowhere to go. So if you have outbraked yourself, gone deep in an effort to pass somebody, you're snookered, because once you've braked, you're on the limit, and that's it. So that's potentially why we're seeing these guys tangle. It's a little bit clumsy in both cases, to be honest.
Now, Kvyat got a great restart last time, and that looks like a puncture rear right on Vigno's car.
Yep, plenty of debris out there to be collected under the safety car.
And Vigno will bring that in. Vigno, who currently sits 3rd in the championship, so it's all playing into Regalia's hands at the moment, as Vigno will drop to the back of the field. It's also playing into the hands of Jack Harvey, who currently sits 4th. And 4th in the championship and 4th in the race, indeed, Jack Harvey.
Yep, both Carlin boys doing very well off out of that starting process. Sims currently up to 6th.
So he passed Yellowly on that restart.
Yes, he did. And Yellowly in 7th. So we'll see what further process they can make. We've seen them with a good race car as opposed to a good qualifying car throughout this year. So hopefully they are going to be able to move forward in the second half of this race.
Now, Daly needs to keep Kvyat honest on this restart. He let him get too far ahead, and it was just before the final left-hander at Blanchimont that Kvyat really put his foot down and left the rest of the field behind. So Daly needs to have learned from that first experience and needs to stick right on his rear wing coming up to the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap.
Yeah, I think Conor may perhaps just a little bit wrong-footed, as we were, to be honest, by the speed at which the safety car came in.
Track is clear, one would imagine. The lights on the safety car will go out and it will come in at the end of this lap. Certainly that's what, and it will come in at the end of this lap. We've just seen a message through from race control. So Daly needs to be told this. He needs to stick with Kvyat and take this battle to the race leader as things get back underway. So, having a little think. Kvyat just toying with the rest of the field and puts his foot down now. And has he left Daly behind? He has, a little bit. And Carlos Sainz has gone with Daly. Daly's nowhere near as far back as he was, though. So Connor Daly has managed to keep slightly more honest on the race leader on this restart, but Kvyat again with a wonderful tempered restart of the field. And the ART boys almost touching. Oh, and the two Carlin boys did touch as Yeloli hit the back of Alexander Sims. And you can pass at that final corner, and it looks like Vishoyu made a move on somebody, but Connor Daly is right with Daniel Kvyat on the restart of this race as Melville McKee is going for Vishoyu up the inside of La Source. Makes the move, and it's a beautiful move from Melville McKee, but Vishoyu's back with him on the run down the hill and into Eau Rouge. This one's not over yet between these two guys. Look at them, all over each other, coming down the hill. Vishoyu right with McKee. Behind them there's Fumanelli, and behind them, I think that's Zamparelli. And look at Daly now on the race leader, coming down the Kemmel Straight. Connor Daly and Danny Kvyat. Daly, who will break later out of these two, into Les Combes. Oh, that is ever so close between the two, and Sainz trying to pick up the pieces of what is a fabulous battle for the lead of this race.
Yeah, we saw Daly take fantastic speed out of La Source, and he had the whole of the third sector to drag up to the back of Kvyat, so he's right there when the race started for real. So a much better restart for Daly that time, much more on the pace, but Sainz also sniffs blood behind the two leaders.
So it is Kvyat who leads from Connor Daly. Sainz is third, then it is Jack Harvey, Regalia Sims, and Yeloli now has dropped behind Kevin Koyas, having made contact with his own teammate on the restart at the bus stop chicane. Daly has dropped back a couple of tenths over the course of this second sector, having put the move, or tried to put the move certainly, on the race leader into Les Combes. So we watch Jack Harvey, he is having a sniff at the back of Carlos Sainz, running back up the hill through Paul Frere Corner, which is the second part now of what we used to know as Stavelot. We still call it Stavelot, though I'm not letting that one go. Back up through Blanchimont. And Sims, we said if anyone was going to do some overtaking today, it was going to be Sims. Started out of the top 10, but boom, up into 6th already. And a great run from Alexander Sims.
But when the race settles, well, he has a big lock-up from Sainz. That might come back to haunt him a little bit later, but right now, not too much of a problem as he makes the apex. Yeah, when the race settles down like this, you know, these guys aren't just cruising around nose to tail. They are grinding relentlessly away at each other. There is big stress going on in the cockpit to keep their position in the queue. If these guys let up, they go backwards. This is not just cruising, it's stalemate. And often, you know, you get the sense that they're just, you know, plodding around one behind the other in that process. They are absolutely lit to try and keep their position in the queue.
So it is Kvyat with almost a 1 second lead over Connor Daly. As Alex said, be under no illusions that these guys aren't pushing, and you can see that with Sims. Look at him, he's already caught up onto the back of Regalia. As Fumanelli and, oh, hello, Venturini and Zamparelli having a bit of a scrap. So too then is Tio Elinas trying to fight through again. There is Tio Elinas, and he has got ahead of Kuyala. There is Lewis Williamson behind him, and then Alex Fontana coming down the hill. Sasilva trying to get a look in as well, because Elinas has just got past Sasilva as well. So Sasilva clearly looking like he's got issues. He's desperately slow in comparison to all of his rivals, and Elinas makes up another position, and that will be P13 for Tio Elinas, who stalled on the grid. My word, if you want some overtaking, look to Tio Elinas as Kuyala goes to try and go around the outside of Sasilva. Nothing on through there. Very, very tough to do it through Piff Paff.
Yep, and Elinas clearing that little bit of traffic up.
Fontana on Williamson. Lovely stuff from Alex Fontana.
Yeah, beautiful overtaking going on in the middle of the pack. Now Elinas has managed to clear that little bit of traffic. He set a purple first sector and gone green in the middle, so he is looking to make progress up to the back of his next target, and he is doing so.
No, that's his teammate. Apologies. I'm afraid to say that is Zamparelli, who is P12 at the moment and scrapping with and getting past, in fact, Giovanni Venturini for P11. So he moves up to P11. Vishoyu in 10th ahead of him. And look, there is Tio Elinas, middle of your screen. The championship leader with the red camera on top of his Marussia Manor car. as Fuminelli scraps with Samine Gomez. And Gomez, I'll tell you, Samine Gomez is racy. Been really impressed with Samine this year. Fuminelli is a guy who knows exactly what it's all about at this level, and Gomez, race on race, seems to improve, mature, and really learn a lot, I think, every single race. As Sims has a look at Regalia down into the corner.
Does look racy, doesn't he, Alex Sims? And you've got to wonder when Elinas arrives at his teammate, as they're in a similar place in the field, arrives at the back of Zampirelli, what the dynamic is going to be there with Elinas needing points, leading the championship. Both drivers driving for their own result, of course. Will Zampirelli feel any pressure to help his teammate out? I think not.
No, this is a difficult thing, isn't it? Because at this level, you guys are all fighting to make your point, to impress, to show what you can do. And although fighting and racing in the same team, it is not as it is in other forms of motorsport where you help your teammate out. It's every man for themselves.
Sims looking sharp in the first sector, very, very racy, and I would suggest he'll continue to be so. He's having a sniff all over the back of Regalia to try and get himself in the top 5.
Looking back through Blanchimont, oh, and he has a little think about that, has to lift off as he just gets his line a little bit wrong through there, but it hasn't allowed Sims to get that much of a look on him as we run back up the hill. I thought Sims might be able to take some advantage out of that. You heard just that slight mistake and you saw the kick up of dust as he went offline.
And that braking game from Sims is more than just the concertina effect. He's very good on the brakes down into the bus stop chicane. I would suggest it's only going to be a matter of time now. He's looking very, very sharp indeed.
0.4 over the line between Sims and Regalia ahead. Regalia needs to hang on for every point he can, because he knows that for a while Elinas is out of the points. If he can pick up 2 or more points, he will take the championship lead.
Yep, as well as it stands at the moment, Regalia is in the championship lead. What he doesn't need, of course, is to have a shunt.
Oh, good catch, Alexander.
Sims at the top.
Yep. My word.
Just whacking the floor on the curb at the top of Eau Rouge.
Here we go. He's coming for him in the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. Sims having a look, Regalia going to defend. Sims trying to go around the outside. Can't quite get it done, but Sims, bounces over the curb, and that's going to allow Corrius to have a good go at Alexander Sims and makes the move past. And in that one moment, all of Alexander Sims' great work undone.
You know, and it's exactly the same thing we saw in the early phases of the GP2 race. These guys making a move, and if the move doesn't come off, you better be looking in your mirrors.
Absolutely. Now, there's a replay then of Sims trying to make the move on Regalia. Look at the pace advantage. But as he bounces on the curbs, boom, up comes Corrius and takes that position away. Meanwhile, behind them, Tio Elinas has passed Giovanni Venturini and moves into 12th place and is now on the rear wing of his teammate, Dino Zampirelli. Will Zampirelli be a gentleman and let him through? Zampirelli is fighting for the points himself, trying to get into 10th place. So Elinas is going to have to scrap his way past Zampirelli, who we know can be a very fighty and a very quick racing driver.
Yeah, almost certainly no help expected there. That's 2 floor strike moments in the space of 3 corners for Alex Sims, so he's quite clearly running that ride height pretty close to what is critical. One whack at the top of Eau Rouge, and then as soon as he got over the curb in Les Combes, it was up in the air as well. So yeah, it could be a factor for him running through this race. Obviously, as the fuel goes off, ride height goes higher, and a bit less of a problem.
Jack Harvey is increasingly getting on terms with Carlos Sainz ahead of him. The gap between them down to 0.3, but Sainz doesn't appear worried through this part of the track anyway. He's seemingly able to just stretch his legs a little bit on the faster parts of the circuit. And Daly as well is having that same problem with Kvyat ahead of him. That Kvyat now holds a 1.3 second lead with Sainz and Harvey 3rd and 4th.
And Elinas making that move on Zampirelli in the background.
Will he try Bichoyu at the same time?
And it was gentlemanly, wasn't it?
It was. Chapeau, gentlemen, chapeau. Beautiful stuff then, and Elinas gets through on his teammates. Elinas then will be up into 11th place. Next man for him will be Robert Bichoyu. And quite incredibly, having stalled on the grid, Elinas looks at taking a point for 10th.
You know, sometimes the way it works